Hey everybody, Sheldon here. Just before we get started, I wanted to let everybody know about a little giveaway that we're going to be having. We haven't done one of these in a while, but we got something nice, and we want you guys to have it. You know, we got enough stuff kicking around the studio. We don't want any more clutter. But this is actually pretty cool, and it's pretty rare. So if you're a fan of this week's movie, you're going to want this. And you can get it for free and actually pretty easily. So just keep listening. We're going to tell you at the end of the episode about all the ways that you could possibly win this awesome prize. But of course, we cannot get to the end of the episode until we start the episode. So Mike, if you would, please play that music. Welcome to episode 87 of The Graveyard Shift, where each week we watch a horror movie suggested by one of our listeners and we break it down into the good, the bad, and any other category we decide to make up along the way. We'll talk about the plot, some production details, and anything else we find fun or relevant. I'm your host Sheldon, and I never worked a graveyard shift alone. Please say hello to a guy that, even as a kid, was way too sex, drugs, and rock and roll for summer camp. My co-host Mike.
Hey everybody.
So Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time we've done a sequel to a movie we've previously covered on the show?
It seems to be the case, yeah.
I can't think of any. I could be totally wrong. And if we're wrong, trust me, someone will let us know, because people seem to like to do that. So anyway, why don't you tell everybody what we got for them this week?
Today's episode is Too Sleepy, Too Campy, because we watched Sleepaway Camp 2.
Oh, we sure did. The schlock continues. And just in case you're curious, here's a little info on Sleepaway Camp 2. Released in August of 1988, Sleepaway Camp 2 is an American horror movie and is a direct sequel to 1983's Sleepaway Camp. It has a runtime of 80 minutes, which is quite enough. It's rated R due to graphic violence and nudity. Had a budget of $465,000. I didn't find anything on the profit, but I suspect it was low. Rotten Tomatoes gives this one, oh wow, these scores are basically the equivalent of shit-stained underwear. It has an audience score of 41 and a critic score of 38. So, not a lot of love for this one. But as for the plot, Angela, from, of course, you remember from Sleepaway Camp 1, supposedly reformed and living under an assumed name, is working at a summer camp. However, when the campers start misbehaving, she soon reverts to her old ways.
When you say reformed, you mean like mentally and physically?
Yep, a little both. And one of them more so than the other. Okay, so Mike, without getting into like a lot of detail, because we are going to do that very shortly, what do you think of this one?
I really enjoyed it.
There's
going to be a lot to talk about in all categories.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, I'm going to be talking about, there's a lot of bad stuff about this one. This is in no way anything I classify as a good movie. But I am going to say that it's only 80 minutes long, and for the entire 80 minutes, I was entertained. And I mean, in the long run, that's what matters, right? So, I guess I can't really say too much about it in that regard. But despite that, we are going to say lots about it, because we're going to break this down in the way we always do into the good, the bad, and if something doesn't fit in any of those, I'm sure we'll come up with some category to put it in. But yeah, the good or the bad, this can be anything we liked or didn't like. Could be something as specific as a certain character, certain scene, certain line of dialogue, whatever the case is. And could be something as broad as an overall theme. It can, and this is where we really get a chance to nitpick. So we are going to start off like always with the good and start with the Mike. So Mike, please tell me something good about Sleepaway Camp 2.
Oh, this movie more than makes up for the lack of nudity in the first one. Like, they realized what makes a great 80s slasher: gore, violence, and tatas. And they learned that lesson well.
The 80s formula: blood, beast, or boobs, right?
Yep. And that is just a strong plus for me. It's not
Yeah.
even the first one on the list, but I just had to like stay true to form and like that's what I'm going to be talking about, so I'm just getting it out of the way. There is a plethora of tits. Like 6 minutes in, like this shows enough tits to make up for the last movie right away. And then it just decides, how about some interest? And I'm like, you have my interest.
Yeah, actually, my note on here was like, no matter what else, the boobs were probably enough to keep Mike going through the 80 minutes.
Well, they were enough to keep you going too. I mean, like you're not going to tell me that they weren't excellent racks all over.
I'm not saying that I don't appreciate some nice breasts, okay? Like, that's, I am a straight male, so of course. So, yeah, like, I just, I'm just saying that I had a feeling you were going to be the one to bring it up. That's all. Okay, so, yeah, that's a good way to start off. I like that. One of the things I'll give them props for is that they actually did do this as a direct continuation, because you know that it was not uncommon in the 80s when they did sequels of movies. They'll slap like a name on it and say like, oh, this is a sequel to whatever, but when you watch the movie, it has no connection to the actual original movie. I mean, that they change a lot of things. It's very removed from the original, and all you gotta do for that is look at the Trolls series. And I am not only, I'm not good reaching to the bottom of the barrel, I'm like reaching to the bottom of the shit-filled toilet for that reference. But you know what I mean, right? Like, there's a lot of movie series like that where the movie has nothing to do with its predecessor, but they'll just slap that name on because people recognize it.
Well, wasn't The Exorcist 2 not a sequel?
It was. I mean,
or was it The Exorcist 3? Like, one of them took place in a completely different time, right?
I can't confirm that. I know, like, The Exorcist was great. Exorcist 2 was ridiculously bad. Exorcist 3 was good, was a step up from 2, but still didn't come close to the original. But anyway, yeah, so I give them props for that, because, like, they actually did keep the story going. So, that's a minor thing, but I thought it was good, because nothing bugs me more than when a sequel to a movie has nothing to do with its actual predecessor.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what else you got for the good?
Angela in this movie reminds me a lot of Katie Micucci.
Don't know who that is.
She's the girl that plays... she's in Garfunkel and Oates.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, if you ever saw her on Raising Hope, it was a series. She played like a very cute, like, cutie little girl playing the ukulele all the time, like trying to cheer everyone up, like just trying to like settle an awkward situation with like, hey, how about some ding-a-ding-a-ding?
I'm kind of aware that show existed, but I really don't think I ever watched it.
Well, she still reminds me of her, like in her looks, and always just like, hey, how about we get a guitar, like cheer up. So she kind of had that vibe going on. So how about you?
Okay, well, let me open up my notes again, because my computer just decided to shut everything down. So I'll just, while I search for that, I'll just take this one right off the top of my head. It's that, man, you said like you didn't have to wait long for the for boobs in this one. You didn't have to wait long for kills in this one either.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap, they wasted no time. Like, they were really utilizing that 80-minute runtime. They wanted to cram as much stuff in there as possible.
And with that came the title. Like, right before the title, we get a kill, which is always like the mark of a decent horror movie. You kill someone before the credits to lead in the movie. And they did.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. It was, and like, yeah, it starts off like no holds barred. Like they just went straight for the jugular, man. There was no pussyfooting around in this thing.
And after that kill comes, I think, great credits, because it has like a slamming rock intro.
Oh,
the
man.
credits come in pieces, like, da-na-na-na, Sleepaway Camp 2, and then they like break apart. And I'm like, okay, this is rock and roll.
That was like 80s hair metal, like all the way.
And I'm digging it. Like they found their they found their style, and they just leaned into it, and I'm a happy boy. I'm a grateful boy. The when they finally start showing tits, they're like, one girl just gets out of bed and she's like, "Oh, come on, who's going to be looking at me?" And then you see two boys outside with a Polaroid going, "The Tit Patrol, that's who."
Oh my god.
I love those Tit Patrol kids. They were great in every scene.
That would have been like you so much when you were a kid. I'm trying to sneak a shot of some nude girl with your Polaroid camera.
I would have had duct tape over the flash just to not give away my position.
See? Right there. You confirmed it. That would be you. Oh my god. Man, I don't know whether to call this good or bad, but like, holy shit, this movie was one of the 80th of the 80s movies. Almost every single cliche you could think of from an 80s movie was jammed into this one. And I don't just mean horror, but like just 80s cliches in general.
Horny 12-year-olds.
Yeah, just the look of everybody, it's just, oh my god. It's like I said, I wrote that down to good, and I'm like, this is probably like one of the most 80s things I've ever seen. Alright, what else you got for the good?
Well, the wet t-shirt. When the girl gets knocked into the pool and she just comes out of the pool and that shirt is just clinging to everything.
Okay.
Like, it is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have a difference of opinion with that scene, because like I said, I can appreciate some nice boobs. I have no problem with that. But it gets to a point where, like, okay, this same girl, you've already seen her completely topless.
You think once is enough?
But honestly, why is my cat back in here? Jesus Christ. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. But it just started, like, okay, I don't mind, like, a nude scene. Okay, you see some boobs and everything like this. But, like, I'm like, okay, we've seen the same girls. Like, I was like, at about 20 minutes in, we've seen the same young girl's boobs, like, 3 times already. And it's like, okay, yes, all right, dude, whoever's behind the camera, put it back in your pants, all right? Like, we get it. There's some nice boobs. Like, you don't have to keep showing us. And it was just like the way that scene played out, it just was probably there's a lot of dumb things in this movie, and that was probably one of the dumbest.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't a tactfully inserted tit shot. Especially when she shows up behind a guy who's with his girlfriend, and she just, instead of like hiding or making any modesty at all, she's just standing there like chest pushed outwards, hoisting herself up out of the pool, and she's just staring at the guy like, drinking in and then fuck off, I need a place to lie down.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, because I put that exact same thing on my bad list. I'm just like, really, guys? Come on. This was the 80s, though, so... This was made during the era of, like, Revenge of the Nerds and Meatballs, so I'm not sure what I expected.
Yeah, they had to compete with those guys on the for that hard R rating.
Yeah.
This is the R that makes you hard.
What else you got? Jesus Christ.
The jockstrap raid.
Oh my goodness.
They had the panty raid, which was like some typical camp stuff, and then the ladies are just like, let's flip the script on these bitches. And they got like one guy pinned down. They're like putting whipped cream all over him or shaving cream on his
I
chest.
swear the fuck, your good list is gonna like take away all of the stuff I had on my bad list.
And then the scene ends with that same girl flashing her boobs because, you know what? When you've established a good precedent and you can't supersede it, then at least meet it over and over and over.
I can just imagine how the audition for that role must have went. It's like, okay, we need a young blonde girl that's willing to show her boobs at least 3 times.
Well, actually, it was a different girl because I think that other girl in the pool scene took place after the jockstrap scene, didn't they?
Oh, maybe it did. I don't know. She's almost everyone
So
looked
many
alike in this movie.
Yeah, so many girls here look the same. It's really hard to tell if you're seeing the same tits over again. Maybe every blonde girl with a perfect body is showing her boobs once, and we just can't tell because they're just like, it's a blonde white girl with huge blonde hair and like C-cup breasts. Like none of the nipples look different. There's just like no differentiating marks between them.
So yeah, I had a hard time keeping track of who was who in this, especially since there was like 2 of the counselors were like twin girls. Like that just I had no idea. They weren't on screen very long though, thankfully, because they were annoying as hell.
Yeah, like you can do pleasant stoners, but these are like the most annoying stoners, like the ones that are just like, I'm so high. We were wasted. We're pretty and we're wasted. It's like, fuck no. But this isn't the time for complaining. We have to praise this movie right now.
I can't anymore. I'll give the props to in some cases, some of them were a little rough, but for the most part, some of the effects on this were done considering your budget and, you know, the time that this was made. Some of the effects were done pretty decently. Like, it was some good low-budget 80s gore. So, I'll give them that.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just plow through my remaining ones. The Freddy and Jason homage in the Arts and Crafts Fair, and then in the woods.
I put that on both my good and bad list.
I know, it was shameless because and done better in the original, so...
It is good that, like, you know, they did some kills and, you know, they weren't parrying, like, doing a parody or anything like that. They were just like, hey, we're just going to scare her by dressing up like some, you know, some movie villains. So, like, they were paying homage to that. But then, on the other hand, I'm like, movie, who the fuck do you think you are? You don't get to pay homage to some great movies, like movie villains like that.
Yeah, it's like Family Guy when Peter beats up Jimmy Fallon for trying to pay homage to Carol Burnett. And it's like, don't fucking look at the camera and smile. She earned that. You didn't. But when we get to see the guy's crawling along the woods looking for his glove. And then we see the glove on the log, and then we realize it's got Angela's hand in it. And somehow the guy, like, instead of like just like standing up to see whose arm is in that glove, he just gets within striking distance of the glove and gets his throat slit. Nice scene though. I gotta give it props. It looked great. Like it looked like his jugular vein was sliced. Yeah,
it looked good in that regards. If they only had like an actor that could actually pull off a death scene, that would be great.
Yeah, well, this is the half that's in the good section. The other half of that is going to be put in a later one.
Yeah.
And well, there was a bathroom kind of sex scene where it's like one shot crawling along the floor of these. All you see is these feet being knocked all over the place. Stuff's being knocked over, pants are coming down. It's great. And then when they finally get into the bathroom stall, he's got his head in her face, which is like a nice turnabout because usually in these scenes, like, it's the girl pleasing the guy. But he's the one going down on her, and when he tries to like lean up to start kissing her and motorboat her, she grabs him by the shoulders and pushes him back down like, I didn't say you were done.
Yeah, she's in control.
So I really appreciated that lady taking control of this situation. And I think that same girl has another great sex scene in the woods which is the best acting we see in this movie.
Yeah, I think I might have to agree with that.
And then and then it gets topped off after she's done. She's like, that was great. You don't have AIDS, do you? Okay, great. See you.
The guy was so offended by that question. It's like,
I think he's confused. Like, shouldn't you have asked me that before we went raw dogging in the woods?
yeah, really.
And then she gets to her bunk after this fuck sesh. And then she gets a summons in crayon. In crayon from another guy saying, "Meet me in the abandoned cabin." I was hoping that she would have looked down at her snatch and said, "Sweetie, you're working a double shift today."
Oh, gosh.
And another good, is this our first toilet kill on the show?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. We've had some kills that happen in a bathroom, but not...
We've had people drowned in a sink before, like Halloween, that was like drowned / boiled. But yeah, being pushed down into a toilet. That's our first.
Yes. That's got to be, and that, I'm going to say, like, oh, holy shit, like, that, of all the deaths in this movie, that would be the one that, like, would...
It was the most disturbing.
It would freak me out the most, because this is, like, getting dunked into, like, the outhouse of an abandoned cabin. So, you're getting dunked in basically, like, ancient shit. And then you try to climb up, and the girl tries to climb up, and Angela's using, like, a tree branch to push her back down.
And the worst part is you hear gurgling.
Yeah. And she comes up covered in leeches.
Why are there leeches in the toilet?
I don't know. I'm just assuming our
Leeches don't manifest from shit. Like, at worst, you'd think flies and maggots. And my final good... Oh, wait, no. Just another quick one. A battery acid kill.
Yes.
That was grotesque.
It was. Like I said again, I'll give props to the effects guy.
At first, I thought it was coffee. Just like boiling hot water or something. And then she follows it up with, as he's screaming, she's like, "I found a use for your car battery."
Yeah.
Wow. That was just like a brutal kill.
Mm-hmm.
And my final good is the villain when she's finally giving her monologue about what she's been doing all this time, what she's going to do, everything that's happened to her. You think, oh great, this is where the villain gives a speech and the hero's going to break free. The son of the cop is going to catch her like his dad did, but fuck no. Your expectations are getting subverted because he gets immediately decapitated by something.
I had to play that back a few times to see what it was. I think it was a machete. I think it was the same machete that the guy dressed when they tried to scare her. The guy dressed as Jason had.
I thought that was a prop.
Well, a prop in the sense that so was Freddy's glove, but it slashed the guy's throat.
Well, yeah. And then just the cute little... I love how Angela developed a sense of humor immediately when she's trying to comfort Molly. And then she goes, "Hey, look who's on TV." And then you see that guy's head in the TV set.
Oh my god, yeah.
It just got so slapstick immediately. She's it is now Keystone Killer.
Yeah. While the first movie certainly it was still ridiculous, but at least the first one had a bit of a serious tone to it. With this one, they just decided that, okay, we're just going to amp up the wackiness. Yeah, Angela was just giving all these one-liners and everything. Not good ones, but she was trying.
They were amusing to her, and that's why it was amusing to me. Because she wasn't doing it for us. This was just her, just trying to, kick back and enjoy her work. Like Freddy. I am ready to start criticizing this movie.
All right. right. Well, I've already started, so I might as well continue. So we're going to talk about the bad, and I'll have a few more things to talk about. So let's first of all, like I said, comparing this movie to the first one had a much more serious tone, while it was still kind of ridiculous. It was much darker. This one, they amped up the wackiness. Like, they went full on slapstick with some of the kills, so that was a big difference. But one of the things that they have in common is how bad the acting was.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the bad acting, I think this one was much as bad as the first one was. The acting in this one was much worse. Holy crap. And especially the girl that played Angela. She was just ridiculously bad. Maybe you notice it more because she had more screen time, and like she was just like you said, like, you know, she was saying things that was funny to her, but it wouldn't be funny to anyone else. But I'm just like, oh my god, like, where did they find this woman?
Your morals are just being pissed away when she's like trying to dunk the girl in the toilet.
Yeah. Like, seriously, like,
Terrible actress. May have gotten better later, but not good here.
Yeah. The best acting in this movie went to the people that didn't have any speaking lines.
Oh, well. Well, when they're reduced to non-speaking roles, here's where my first bad comes in. Terrible corpse acting by so many people.
Oh, are you talking about when you see all the corpses lined up in the abandoned cabin and you can actually see some of them breathing?
Yeah, they're swallowing, breathing, blinking, or not even keeping the same face they had when they were killed. Can anyone just remain still for 5 fucking solid seconds?
Yeah, like, there's one especially, like, there's one girl, the girl that got strangled to death.
She's got a smile.
She's got a smile. You actually see her, like, lips curl up a little bit into, like, a little bit of a smile, like she's trying not to laugh. And then you see, like, what's a very noticeable, like, she takes a very noticeable deep breath. Like, nobody said, okay, we're just going to keep the camera on you for, like, 2 seconds. Just have a blank expression and don't breathe. Just hold your breath.
When the first girl gets her tongue cut out, no blood pissing out. Like, you'd think, like, if you cut, like, a massive vein, there will be blood coming out. Okay. But no, you see her close her mouth afterwards, or, like, just curl her lip up. Like, her mouth is fucking moving.
Okay, so, the first kill we see, Angela slams this girl in the head with a tree branch, knocking her out. And then she cuts her tongue off, like the girl's tongue sticking out. She pulls out her tongue, cuts it off, and you see, like, okay, the actual look of that when she grabs her tongue and cuts it. I'm like, okay, I've got a thing for tongues. You know, Mike, you know me. Like, I don't flinch easily. Like, I can watch when it comes to movies and stuff, I can watch some pretty graphic scenes and don't flinch. I've got a problem with stuff happening to people's toes and stuff happening to people's tongues. So when I saw right away that she was reaching down, she's going to cut off her tongue, I kind of, like, went, yeek! Like, braced myself. Like, I'm not turning away, I'm not going to close my eyes, but I'm going to watch this. Okay, she slices her tongue off, and you see, like, there's a splash of blood. Like, blood just goes, like somebody, it looked like somebody had, like, a small plastic bag filled with blood, and they just, like, squeezed it in their hand, and it just burst. But then she cuts the tongue, she takes the tongue away, and there's, like, not, even though you saw this blood splash everywhere, there's not, like, even a little bit on the dead girl's face. There's none running out of her mouth. There's none on her face. It's all on Angela.
Yeah, you cut someone's tongue off, blood will start pooling in their mouth and pouring out of their open mouth.
Yeah. I'm like, you couldn't give her, like, just put some blood in this girl's mouth, or, like, if you, obviously, what's like a fake tongue, a prosthetic tongue, couldn't, like, fill it with some fake blood?
Yeah, have the tongue bleed.
Yes. That's all it took. It's, like, such a simple effect. Like, I've done bleeding mouth, like, you know, the bleeding mouth effect for just, like, my Halloween props. Like, I'm pretty sure that these guys with, you know, nearly $500,000 budget could have figured out something.
Even before, when the girl is on the ground, her tongue is sticking out of her mouth like she's a hot dog.
Yes.
It's like, come the fuck on. If you're going to be making that kind of face after getting a head trauma, you need to have cartoon birds circling her head.
Yeah.
Like, I knew right away this was going to be fucking terrible.
Yep.
Okay, so what's your next bad?
Okay. So, Angela kills, like, 10 counselors. I didn't, actually count, but it must be at least 10.
Oh, yeah.
And her excuse is just always that she sent them home. Like, I think that, before you get to that number, they would find something kind of suspicious. Or, why didn't you sent them home? Somebody should, I'm pretty sure at least one of them would have been, pissed off and came to me or something. I would have figured at this point, something is going on.
Yeah, and, she is a regular employee. She's not like a co-owner or anything. She does not have that authority.
Yeah.
My next bad is showing the killer right away. You better have a damn great twist, and they didn't.
Nope. Yeah, that's another thing. For the first one was you knew that the killings were connected to Angela in some way. You didn't. First time you see this movie, you're not sure that she's the actual killer, but you know that she's connected in some way, whether it's her or somebody.
You think it's her protective brother, or maybe the boyfriend, or like the prospective love interest.
Yeah.
Like someone looking out to protect her. It could be anyway.
Because all the kills were done in the POV mode, so yeah. But man, there is no suspense for this one at all. The first kill is just Angela just appears in front of this girl and just smashes her in the head.
Yeah, and they even call her Angela. So it's not even wow, not even good to make us wonder who is this? Is this somebody else?
Yeah.
Nope, it's fucking Angela because they just say
You could
Angela.
just have her call her a different name and just she's nuts, she's killing people, and then they reveal when she does her confession towards the end, she confesses to this one girl that was actually trying to be her friend, and that's when they reveal who she is.
Yeah, my name's not Veronica, it's Angela.
Yeah.
But no.
Nope, they go right away. Even starting off the movie telling the story about what happened at camp, and then fully coming out that, hey, this is Angela. She's she is fully a girl now, and she's still nuts and killing people.
Yeah. Yeah, they took a good introducing the movie, making sure introducing this movie, making sure that the previous movie's canon, that it happened in this world, and then immediately, no, Angela's right here. There you go. And no mask, no suspicion, no anything. That's this movie almost in a nutshell. A great idea punctuated by an absolute faceplant.
Yeah. And, okay, next thing I got on my list is also about Angela. Because, okay, the girl that played Angela in this one, Pamela Springsteen, I think her name was, she must be 80 pounds soaking wet. And she must have be freakishly strong for the things she pulled off in this movie.
Yeah, she looks like a 14-year-old Olive Oyl.
Yeah. Yeah, she's supposed to be early, I think at least 19, 20 in this movie.
And a scrawny 20.
She's super scrawny, she's smaller than some of the actual kids at the camp. But holy crap, she is just beating people down you wouldn't believe. Oh, and plus...
And lugging bodies all over the fucking place.
Lugging bodies all over the place. She drowns one girl in the fucking outhouse, the old outhouse. And then, the bodies are all propped up later on.
Yeah, so she fished her out.
So she had to fish her out, and holy shit. Have you ever tried to pull somebody out of a pool?
Yeah, all that water just increases their weight by 50%.
It's not easy. You try grabbing someone by the hands and pulling them out of the pool. And it's not an easy task. They're pushed up against the side of it. So you got some friction working against you there. Plus, like you said, they're all wet. It's not a task. Especially, if the person you're trying to pull out is bigger than you are. But somehow she managed to pull this girl out of this toilet and prop her up in the cabin after drowning her. And, I want people to understand, I say outhouse, it's not a toilet, because I don't want people thinking, if you haven't seen this, she just drowned her in a toilet, like pushing her head in. This is like a full-on outhouse. She actually like was in the outhouse, completely submerged.
How many outhouses have a toilet seat so wide
That a person can fit through it.
that a person's shoulders can easily pass through while struggling?
I don't exactly have a lot of experience at outhouses, so I can't say for sure. Honestly, like, that's something else that creeps me out. Like, the thought of outhouses just...
Like just a fucking hole in the ground almost seems easier, because at least you can just kick some dirt on top of it and keep it done. You have a methane box.
I prefer like to do like if I gotta do something in the woods, I want to do it like the way my dog does. Just like, walk along, squat, take a dump, and then just step forward like 3 or 4 feet, and then kick some dirt behind you, and then walk away.
Yeah, there's like a fundamental problem with this movie that it continued from the first is still not going to make it easy to tell the difference between the counselors and the campers. Everybody's wearing the same fucking shirt, the same shorts, the same everything. No identifying tags, lanyards, nothing. And especially with what looks like kids eating at the counselor's breakfast.
Yeah, everybody's just kind
they're
of...
handing
like,
out mission
together.
plans. They're handing out mission plans, singing like Kumbaya or like some camp council song. And it's like the kids aren't there, but some kids are. So who the fuck works here and who's attending?
Yeah, really. I have no idea. Like, everyone was like... Because you get the counselors that are supposed to be like either like really late teens or possibly early 20s. And then you get some of the kids that are like mid to early teens. And like a lot of them together, I'm like, yeah, it was the same thing. I don't know who's supposed to be the counselor and who's the actual campers.
And saying I sent them home. Like the kids? You're sending out the busty blonde girls like the kids? Like nothing in this movie indicates who's attending. Like everybody seems to have power over everyone else, and everyone's dressed the same. No hats, no tags, no nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so another note here on Angela. The cop's son, the guy he's mentioned a couple times in the movie, like, oh, his dad's a cop. He was the one that arrested Angela. Again, I guess chalk this up to Angela's like freakish super strength somewhere along the line. She knocks him unconscious with a stick that's like about half the width of her arms. Like, it looks small. It was about the size of a broom handle.
Yeah,
This guy looks like he's about like 6'2", probably like 200 pounds.
He obviously plays football.
Yeah.
He's
Like,
used to getting hit by dudes. He is used to tackling big weighted
He
dummies.
looks like the typical like high school jock.
Yeah, and you're taking him out with a stick, not a log, because that is what you would need to get the drop on this guy.
Like, I've gotten hit with things like, I've gotten hits that are much more powerful than that, and somebody comes along and tries to, like, subdue me by hitting me with, like, a stick like that, I'm gonna be just like, ow, what are you doing? You're pissing me off. Stop it. That stings. Don't do that. Ah, I got a splinter.
Oh yeah, and of course Olive Oil has the strength to decapitate a guy in one shot.
Yes.
Someone with that muscle mass would take at least like 7 or 8 chops.
Yeah.
Of course, like there's probably going to be some people that's like, well, she still has a boy's muscle mass and structure.
It's like, she doesn't, though. It doesn't matter if she's a boy or a girl. Like, her size is her size.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I'm saying people would say that. I'm not saying they're right.
I'm sure people would, because people are fucking idiots. That's why.
Yeah, you think like, oh, so a super scrawny boy has the strength of an extremely muscular, well-developed woman? Like, is that your scale?
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's a boy, so she must be stronger. I
think I'm next.
Yeah,
Am
you
I?
go ahead. You go ahead.
Guns are too noisy, so I'm gonna use a drill. Also, how do you kill an unrestrained person with a drill? It's a very precise tool made for, like, boring out things that are not kicking, screaming, moving, fighting back in any way at all whatsoever.
Yeah. Also, well, I didn't. That's a good point. Drill. You said guns are too noisy, so here's your drill. Mine is note is paraphrasing is basically guns are too noisy. Here's a chainsaw.
At least in a chainsaw, you can say, like, if someone catches you, you can be like, "Oh, I was just clearing out some trees."
Yes, while I'm wearing this human skin mask.
So what's next for you?
Well, okay, going back to the homage to the much, much better horror movies. So we got a little tribute to Jason, Freddy, and then Leatherface. And I already mentioned this, like, hey, in a way, kind of cool. In another way, who the fuck do you think you are, movie? You don't get to pay tribute to these.
You're just reminding me of movies I'd rather be seeing.
Exactly. But so yeah, so a little bit about that. If you haven't seen the movie, some of the campers decided they don't like Angela, so they're going to scare her by dressing up like these movie monsters. Get one dressed as Jason, one dressed as Freddy, and turns out they actually are carrying real weapons. And this guy makes like a perfect working replica of Freddy's blade glove.
Apparently, he was in the metal shop earlier.
Yeah. And, of course, they meet their demise because Angela comes along dressed as Leatherface. But she's wearing the... Okay, first of all, yes, okay,
she kills the boy as Freddy because he was looking for his glove. And then I guess using that blade, skinned his face off and then just decided, I'm going to be Leatherface.
We see him later and he's still got his face, but we see the faces cut off a couple of the female campers that she killed.
So she stored someone else's face?
Yeah!
What the fuck?
She premeditated this.
Well, Girl Scout motto, always be prepared. You never know when you're going to have to improvise some identity theft.
Yeah, I guess so, but... so the thing is, like, again, so many people die in this, like, so many campers die, so many counselors die, people don't seem freaked. Was she still wearing the skin mask when she shows up in that where the other girls were camping? When she was like, Angela, it's you!
Because they take the mask off of her after they tackle her.
So like nobody happened to notice. It's like, wow, what's with this creepy mask? Oh my god, this is real human skin.
Oh my god, this is Becky. What the fuck happened to Becky? She had such good hair.
Mask looks like Becky. Oh my god. It's just like and of course I've said this before, there's always like a certain level of disconnect that you have to have when it comes to horror movies, but how big of an area were they in? Like, nobody heard all this stuff going on. Like, people are screaming. Somebody, like, at least a couple people get burned to death and they're screaming the whole time. Like, I doubt very much that, these people hiked miles away, like, out of, like, hearing distance. It just seemed like that everybody was just way too oblivious in this movie.
These trees are super absorbent for sound.
Yeah, really. All right, yeah. What else you got for the bad?
Yeah, we already talked about the acting and the dialogue are so sketchy. Like, they don't have a better way to move anything along. Okay. Allie got stabbed in the back, and then when you see her, like, her bloodstained shirt with a hole in it, and the hole is only in the shirt, they couldn't even apply a fake hole to her back.
No, or at least, like, smear the skin underneath the hole with fake blood.
Yeah, and speaking of fake holes, how the fuck did she fit in the outhouse toilet? And they stick her head above where Angela has a branch. Instead of, like, she can keep her head above the muck, but just be, like, inside but beside the hole. So she can't push you. And it at least make Angela have to improvise by, like, having to throw a match in there to blow it up or something.
Yeah.
And also, like, you hear gurgling as her head is near the top, like, her head immediately pops up like a quarter of a second after the gurgling stops. Like, how deep is this shit?
Literally, yeah. Yeah, well, first of all, like, that means... Oh my god, I can't believe we're actually analyzing this. That means, like, the actual, like, shit and everything would have to be, like, up to the level of the toilet seat. Which
Yeah, and,
means...
and inside, just for her to get the leverage to lift up her head, the shit has to be at least as deep as her being on her knees.
Yeah. Okay. What I got next is that, while I like the kill, it was fine. The battery acid. It's like, I don't think that the writers of this movie know just the level of corrosiveness in battery acid. While it is corrosive, you don't want to get on your skin. It's not going to melt your face off in like 0.06 seconds. Like, literally on contact. It hits him. There's like, psh, he screams, falls to the ground, and then he like pans to him and his face is gone.
Oh, it's immediately like bubbling, melting, and even if you do get your face melted, that would be incredible pain, but like still not enough to kill you.
No,
you would just be like, ah!
Yeah. That'd be just enough to piss me off to grab Angela and like start bashing her head against something. Like, before I die, I'm fucking gonna strangle the life out of you.
Or even better, just like, if you know you're dying, just like lean in for a kiss and just get that acid on her face. Get a little mingling going on.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's like acids that are that corrosive, but I don't think like car battery acid, like, it is corrosive, but it's not going to take immediate effect as soon as it touches your skin, that like it melts it off. So
if it doesn't melt your face, how could it not be acid then?
I guess, yeah.
Acid is acid. My next bad. Wouldn't guitar string garroting someone with your bare hands just destroy your fingers?
I would say, yeah.
Not her, though. She just looks for a bit of comedy. Someone is talking about how I've been looking into all the people you sent away, and something is very suspicious. Instead of going to the boss with this, she just decides, all those people that you sent away or didn't make it home. Don't you think that's weird? Shouldn't we be looking for them? And meanwhile, Angela's just shopping around the cabin, looking at various things, like picking up a stereo, checking it for the heft.
Yeah.
And then she finally improvises with her guitar, wraps it around her fingers, and like gets behind her and garrots her. And I'm like, oh, no. No, I've had, like, anybody who's done work with any string, hell, even flossing, knows that your fingers can get devastated by a string.
Oh yeah, that would be cutting into your, like, it's gonna tear your fingers up for sure. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about this. Like, this pretty much covers like all the badness. Like, I don't know if you got anything else to add.
Yeah, I got some quick ones. There's more than one verse to Kumbaya, right?
No, there's not.
I forget, what the fuck do I know?
I don't know. Fuck.
Well, I do know that at least one of the verses is like, someone's singing Lord Kumbaya, someone's crying Lord Kumbaya, oh Lord Kumbaya. There's at least these things occurring in the song. And she's just strumming along, Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya, Kumbaya, my Lord. It's like, no, there are other people mentioned in this song. And they're doing things usually related to Kumbaya. I guess, like, typical horror movie complaint. Why would you not finish off the killer when they're knocked out? Molly manages to get the drop on Angela, knocks her down with, I guess, a spare broom handle or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I would buy that with her, because, like, Angela basically is like an assortment of broom handles for limbs.
The other girl looks like she could swing a broom handle much harder than Angela.
Yeah, I would expect her to, like, break this thing over Angela. and then like stab her with the shattered end. But no, typical, she just like gets a drop on her and decides this is the perfect opportunity to kill her in self-defense and be done with it. But no, I'm gonna run. So she fucking runs. And my last bad is this lady gives Angela a ride. And in just like the short amount of time we meet her, she is just saying like stupid, pointless lines. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say what those lines are because they belong in the next category. But I guess I put this in the bad when I should have mentioned it in the good. But still, when the lady says this absolutely stupid line, Angela just has this look of resignation on her face, like, God damn it, how many people need killing today? My arms are getting sore. And then she just immediately hams it up when Molly needs a ride. The truck pulls up, and Angela's driving it with the lady's hat saying, "Howdy, partner."
Oh my god. So cringeworthy. Yeah, the last kill that Angela does kills the lady that in the truck wearing the cowboy hat.
Oh, now I remember why it's in the bad. Because she actually like goes for the reveal gag instead of just running over Molly.
Yep.
Which would have been a great gag because, like, if you see, like, just headlights, just washed out headlights, it could be any car. But after it runs her over, then you would see the car, like, back up over her. And then you realize, oh, it's the same truck. And then you see Angela driving it. That would have been a good way to handle it. Mm. But no, they end the movie on this gag, too.
With her saying, howdy.
Yeah, so we have no idea what becomes of Molly. Or, yeah, and that's how the movie ends. So, usually we get treated to the villain being killed. We didn't even get that. That was denied. So, that's why it's in the bad.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind, like, a movie ending, like a lot of horror movies, especially in the 80s, ends, like, kind of open-ended like that. But just to end it with such a ridiculous line, like just a ridiculous scene, that was really awful. It's like they couldn't figure out how to end the movie, but it's like, we're out of money now, so we just got to stop it here.
And we're not done yet. We've got another category of just quick, either terrible lines of dialogue or just... Usually they're lines of dialogue or just scenes which did not fit.
To me, that's all bad. Like, I didn't need another category for that one.
Oh no, it's just like I've got like a few notes for what's up next, but it was like so bad, like it just screamed questions. So do you have any what the fucks?
Nope, all mine were in the bad. There was nothing that caused me any type of confusion with this movie.
Oh, well, I had a few. The first kill, the lady gets a log bashed across her left side, but yet as she's, like, before she falls, she cradles the right side of her head with her hand, like, and then drops. Like,
Mike, that is so weak, dude. Seriously? You think that's what the fuck worthy? Oh my god.
Well, yeah, to her, because you think, like, she knows she's got the blood on the side of her head. Like, what the fuck would tell her, I'm going to cradle the I'm going to cradle the entire opposite side of my head after being hit.
Yeah, people never do weird things when their brains get fucking scrambled.
Okay, well, here's a what the fuck. The flashback mushroom dream that Angela has when she's in her bunk. This is something that completely has no place in the rest of the movie, where we get to relive all of her kills and her singing her little camp song in terrible slow motion, audio included, with a blue light and like a Dutch angle on it.
Yeah, that was weird.
And when Angela's talking with Molly, and she goes like, oh, I didn't get along with this boy before. And Molly says, oh, what happened? And Angela says, I drowned him. And Molly doesn't follow it up with,
What the
I'm sorry,
hell?
what? And another what the fuck? That cowgirl's line after she gives Angela a ride. The line that prompts Angela to kill her is, "I'm too dumb to drink and too fat to fuck." And she says it with like this Dolly Parton like accent.
No.
Like, none of this makes any sense. Like, who would be proud to say that? And also, how can you be too dumb to drink? Like, you can grab a bottle, put it to your mouth, tilt it. Like, have you ever heard that expression? Does it make any sense?
Never in my life. And I would really question, like, the intelligence of somebody that said something like that.
When somebody says that, I'm convinced that they are an alien or an animal that is copying words that they have heard humans say, but don't understand the context to which they apply them.
Yeah. Oh.
Which is the same equivalent of you walking up to a cow and be like, "Mrrr," thinking like, I wonder if he understands me.
Oh my god, yeah, this movie had a language all of its own, man. It was really bad.
And I guess we already addressed, what the hell are leeches doing in an outhouse? Since leeches are like a water, they are like a standing water creature.
Well, like maybe there was some standing water in there. We don't know what was in there, Mike, okay?
Like leeches drink blood. What animal, like, unless, well, who knows how bad the camp food is. Like that might explain why there's blood in the outhouse.
There could have been some, who knows, there could have been some bleeding buttholes using that toilet, who knows.
And my last what the fuck is when Angela when the guy gets Angela to explain, like, "You're Angela Baker, how did you get out of the asylum?" And she goes, "I got good recommendations."
Yeah, what the hell does that even mean? She got good recommendations?
Oh my god, here it comes. Doctors, psychiatrists, even clergymen. So, clergymen to give her, like,
yeah,
I don't know, like, carte blanche, like, forgive her crimes, like, oh, she's converted from insanity to Christianity, so she's all good now. Like, even if she was deemed traumatized by the aunt and given electroshock and counseling to undo that, and somehow not be held accountable for multiple murders, why would they risk putting her back into the campground, like the same scenario that caused her to offend in the first place? Given that her mindset redefines judge and mental.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if only there was some deleted scene that could have reconciled that.
Well, Mike, it's funny you should say that, because, our listeners are great. They're great at finding some stuff for us. And there was actually supposed to be a flashback scene when Angela's telling the story about how she got released that actually shows a conversation between one of the doctors and, if you can believe this, one of the clergymen that actually was one of her references to get her released.
I'm sure it would have been the more sensible flashback in this movie.
Oh yeah. So, of course, because we work in an audio format, you guys can't see this, but you get to listen to the audio for this week's It Came from the Cutting Room Floor.
Hello, Doctor.
Oh, Father, what brings you here? You're not scheduled to visit Angela for another week. Are you here to comfort one of these other troubled souls?
No, I am here on Angela's behalf, but not to visit her. Now, you know full well that I have spent many years with Angela since her surgery. I did some reading, and it seems that there's a year of hormone therapy before the first set of many operations and lifelong hormonal supplements afterwards. Angela hasn't mentioned any of this in my visits, and she only seems to be recovering from one operation.
Oh, we tried an experimental new surgery that doesn't require any of that preparation. It just handles everything at once. We call it the plot contrivance method.
Well, it certainly keeps things simple and able to move forward.
That's the intention. Now, some may think that such an invasive and severe change in morphology might cause mental instability, but she was already unstable, so what do we have to lose?
Oh, the good Lord provides, as they say. Now, speaking of opportunities, I think Angela is deserving of one.
What did you have in mind?
Well, I don't mean to brag, but I managed to teach her Kumbaya.
Ugh, the whole thing?
Well, enough to get by. I've only been teaching her for 3 years now. I don't perform miracles, I simply interpret them.
Yeah, I guess in your line of work that's still pretty good.
I think so. Also, I think Angela should be allowed seasonal release and employment. I understand she's had experience at summer camp. With her learning guitar, she would fit in perfectly as a counselor at Rolling Hills Camp.
What? She killed a ton of people.
And she said she was sorry. The Bible teaches forgiveness. Besides, she hasn't killed anyone in the asylum, and she's just been perfect during our Bible readings.
And what parts have you read to her?
All of it.
And she didn't try to kill you? Well, okay. I guess if you can read the whole Bible, then you have to be a good person, right? That's just common sense. Tell you what, I can petition for her release to the board next meeting.
Come now, son, I know you can do a little better.
Look, the asylum hasn't let the priest determine sanity in convicts since Vatican II.
If it's good enough for the Lord, are you going to stand in his way? Which of us speaks more for him?
Okay, well, I guess that would be you. And you did teach her the Bible and most of Kumbaya. Ugh.
Yes. Most.
Okay, I'll get my sane stamp. And you can walk her out yourself. Because, I don't see how putting a violent offender in the same situation they commit their crimes in could have any chance of reoffending, since they're both Christian and sorry now.
Exactly. And you validate parking, right?
Most people have to pay?
Most people are going to hell, but exceptions can be made for the faithful, correct?
You know what? Whatever, just as long as you leave.
Wow, I definitely would have preferred that to, I'm gonna camp until I die.
Yeah, I would have liked this. I would have much rather have seen that scene in the movie. Wow, that doctor really did not care for that priest. You could see the contempt on his face every time he looked at him.
Well, yeah, because as we all know, no actual doctor believes in Christianity. I think they have to like beat that out of you when you go into doctor school. Like, so you want to be a doctor and saves lives? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 tools. Here is a diagnostic kit and medicine, and here is a list of prayers. Which one do you think will be more effective? And if they struggle, then you know to throw them out.
Yeah. All right. So, Mike, wow, we've done a lot of movies in the past few weeks that were very light on the kills. This one, not the case. One of the things I want to give props to this one is that there were some messed up kills in this, and plenty of them. So you've got a tough decision to make.
Oh man, I had my work cut out for me on this week's kill of the week. And despite your reservations, I have to give it to the tongue-in-cheek slasher-style double kill of Jason as Leatherface and Freddy as... Well, she kills the Freddy guy as Freddy. And then she tries to use the chainsaw to kill someone else to get into a locked cabin. But then she starts struggling with it like it's out of gas, so she just she gets frustrated and throws it away. So it was I couldn't give it to the drill kill because it's just so stupid. How do you lose a fight with a drill? It would cause some injuries, but you could struggle, scream, and get out of that car.
Yeah, this is a lot of people in this movie had the the put your hands up and scream reactions too about when they're about to die.
A close second would have been how she killed the Stoner sisters, because we see her knock them out, And then one wakes up to find the other. One wakes up on a barbecue grill, and the other one is already burned to a crisp as like charred black bones.
Yeah.
She killed one so quickly and subtly that she didn't even wake up the other one. So that was too stupid for me to consider. So I guess I got to go to the homage kill because it's the only one that makes any degree of sense. Did you have any objections or?
No, I think that's a fine one. I don't know, just because it was unique, I might have went with the outhouse kill, but I would get that. Yeah, like that was a double kill.
Yeah, the outhouse just had too many questions. How do you not fall into an outhouse that's big enough to actually fall into?
Okay, yeah, that is true. So yeah, good choice. I could see that. It was the probably like one of the more memorable parts of the movie. So guys, I know what we said like that. This movie, it's not a good movie in any means. Any of the criteria that makes a movie good, this movie doesn't really have it. But you know what? Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. I still like this movie. This is one of the great type of movies to throw on, like you're having a Halloween party or something like that, just to throw on the background where you can appreciate it just for the kills alone. And the bottom line is, it was 80 minutes and I wasn't bored throughout this. It was entertaining enough. And like I said earlier, like, that's kind of the point, right? Like, that's the main thing. Like, it's an entertaining movie. I probably couldn't care less to go back and rewatch it again, other than to show someone else. Just how ridiculous it is. But I would watch this one over watching the first one again. So there's that. Like, at least, like, I think probably because of the kills, it's that's probably what put this one over the top for me. But yeah, it was fine. Yeah. I didn't mind it. It's not good, but I certainly didn't mind watching it.
And considering that it has a trans serial killer, it didn't make it about being trans.
No.
Which was, I guess, sensitive and progressive?
Sort of, I guess. Much more than, that wasn't a big, because that was one of the things that pissed me off about the first movie, was that ending. Because we see naked Angela, when we find out that she's a guy. She just killed, the guy that liked her, she just killed him, just beheaded him. And she's caught holding his severed head and, doing that moan, growl type thing. And the people that discover her, they don't come and say, oh my god, Angela just decapitated this kid or something. Literally, the line is, oh my god, Angela's a boy.
She's a boy. That's the thing, not she's the killer, she just killed someone. She's a boy. That's the shock.
Yeah, Jesus, welcome to the 80s, man. I preferred this one, actually. I didn't think I was going to say that, but I will take this movie over the original, as bad as it is.
Oh, it's just better in all ways. More tits.
It's some cheap laughs.
More tits, more kills. We got some slapstick laughs in it, so
yeah.
It's somehow more sensitive and progressive than the predecessor. That there's so many ways that it could have just leaned into that whole you can't trust these people, or it could have been so distasteful and terrible and judgmental, and they kind of made it she's trans, but it's not about that. She's just a disturbed Catholic, and who can't relate to that?
Well, not me. So,
or at least dealing with them.
I've dealt with, yeah, okay. I can relate to that, yes. Okay, guys, so that is our coverage of Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. Now, right here, this is where we usually say, and I guess I'm going to kind of say it again, what do you think of this movie? Have you seen it? You agree with what we had to say? Disagree? Did we leave something out that we should have talked about? Have you not seen it, but you've got a recommendation for us? Well, we want to hear from you, just that this time we've got even more reasons we want to hear from you, or at least one big one. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, then first of all, you can hit us up the old-fashioned way by emailing us at graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at GYS_horrorpod. Facebook, Facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod, and Instagram.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. And of course, you can always help us out by going on to Patreon, patreon.com/graveyard. There, for a donation of little as $1 a month, you get to help us out with the production and publishing of the show. And if you do that, you get access to some awesome Patreon exclusive bonus episodes. So check those out. They're all really cool. And of course, we understand if you don't have the money to help us out, you can still help us out a ton by sharing us on social media, by word of mouth, rate, review, subscribe. All those ways really go. That's the best way, honestly, in the long run to help us out. So if you could help us do that, that would be great. But now, keep all those things in mind. Our email address, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, because we got something that we want to do for you guys. We want to give you something. Only giving away one person, so you're going to have to fight over it, but we want to make this interesting because we decided for our next Patreon episode, since we've done Sleepaway Camp 1, now we've done Sleepaway Camp 2, for our next Patreon episode, we want to talk about Sleepaway Camp Part 3. Apparently, this is when shit gets really crazy, so I can't wait to watch this and talk about it. But we're going to do that for a Patreon episode. But we got a little something here that we want to give away to you guys, and it is related to Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. And what it is a little piece of artwork that I actually got from Quilt Face Studios. Now, this was done by their artist Chris Garofalo, and this is not a poster. This is actually a hand-drawn print of some art. Not a print, but like the actual original hand-drawn artwork, inspired by Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. And yeah, we want to give this to you. We want to give this away to one lucky listener. And I was trying to think of a way to do this, Mike. What's the best way to do this? How do we decide who this is going to? So, since you know our email address, you follow us on Twitter or whatever, you have us on Facebook or on Instagram, however way you want to do it, you need to send us a message. And what I think the message should be is, since you brought up a few times, Mike, let's say, message us Kumbaya. And of all everyone that does this, we're going to draw a name randomly. And the winner, we're going to send this artwork. This is some nice stuff. I'm actually so impressed with this. It looks fantastic. There was more time and effort put into this artwork inspired by the movie than was actually put into the movie. And it's actually worth a little bit of coin. Guys, this is something that if you actually went to Quilt Face Studios and bought this, you'd pay a little bit for it. So it's quality. You want this. And we're going to give that away to you. We're going to send it to you for free. If you're a fan of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, then this is going to be an awesome piece of artwork to add to your horror collection. So we're going to give it away. I'm going to post some pictures of it on all our social media so you can take a look. It looks so good. So guys, be on the lookout for that, and we'll make some posts in regards to the giveaway as well, and we'll probably run it for a couple of weeks just to give people enough time to message us. So guys, that is our movie for this week. But Mike, before we go, how about you tell everybody what else you got going on besides the Graveyard Shift?
I got the Playing with Power podcast, making episodes about the Nintendo Power magazine that we all knew and love growing up. And we are currently covering 1997, the year of the N64. We also brought back the Taste Test, where we were recently covering Balloon Fight. Not much to talk about, but we managed to make a decent episode out of it. And then we also have the Tech Chatter podcast, where me and Rich will talk about devices. Most often, recently, what we found at CES. Not found because we went there, because it's not making that much money, though. Fingers crossed. If it hasn't begun to make money in this time, it probably never will. But it's a nice little hobby where a bunch of guys that don't know shit about tech talk about it for about an hour or so. And I look forward to making other different types of shows, but I'll have more on that later.
All right, yeah, check them out. Good stuff. So, guys, that's our episode for this week. This is a fun one. I actually enjoyed talking about this movie. But we are going to be back next week with another movie, and looking forward to that one too. Not going to say what it is, but another one that I'm not familiar with, so that's always good. But until then, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Mike.
Thank you again for joining us on the Graveyard Shift. Ha 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 ha!